Hey everybody, it's your boy Big L PhD, Captain Hunter, Big L PhD. As you all may know by now, if you've been keeping up with this particular channel, this is a new channel that I just started. Make sure you follow me on other platforms, Captain Hunter's podcast, where I talk about men's issues, LMH Consulting Services, my expert witness testimony podcast where I talk about controversial shootings, taserings involving police, reviewing lawyers, and just having dialogues along those lines about what's going on in the law enforcement community. Recently got my PhD in leadership, and I wanted to focus on and discuss what that means to me and all that. Previous video that I've either done by now or I'm going to do is going to be titled How to Stay Motivated. But I wanted to talk about overcoming different obstacles. I wanted to make a separate video about this. And let's talk about overcoming obstacles, and then maybe I'll do the motivation thing later on. So what are some of the obstacles that you have to really focus on when you're dealing with entering into PhD territory? Really any type of doctorate, really any type of a professional doctorate, educational, even master's degrees, right? How do you overcome these different obstacles? Well, let's talk about the obstacles and let's talk about how to overcome them. First one is obviously the financial aspect of it. I think now that there is a market saturation that is going on within the academia. You can go on to, you start talking in front of your phone in particular, or even start researching some things on Google or whatever, and you're going to be inundated with a bunch of advertisements for different universities. Take this MBA program, do this program, this doctorate, all this stuff, all schools. I get them now still, even though I graduated from Europe, all that kind of stuff. So my point about that is that the market is being saturated right now. So I think that's going to actually drive prices down. I'm not an economist, but I think that the market has to adjust for this. The other thing that's going to help to adjust the market is a lack of jobs. People don't see the need, the benefit, the need or the benefit to continuing a higher education. What is the rate? What is the worth of a PhD? 5, 6, 7 years of school to get this degree that you're going to do what with it? Make $60,000 a year? I follow a few, not that I follow, but I watched a few persons on YouTube who have their PhDs and they're making YouTube videos, right? One is a pharmacist. One is a pharmacist. He went to school for all this time. Can you imagine as a parent sending your kids to school, sacrificing to send your kids to school and cutting back and sending money and supporting them, all for them to sit home now and make YouTube videos? I'd be pissed. You got to pay me back. That was years off my life to make sure that you have this, and now you're just going to sit home making YouTube videos. So anyway, that's one of the obstacles is the financial, right? Where do you get the money from? I was fortunate, right? I had a 401k. I funded it heavily. Of course, I'm in retirement now as a police officer, so I got my retirement and I did a 401k. So I just took the money out of my 401k. I found a cheap school that was accredited. When I went online for my search parameters, I put in cheapest doctorate programs, fully online, and those are the items that I looked for. And I came up with the school that I came up with, and it had met every one of my criteria as far as being fully 100% online, being 100% online, fully. And just the price and all that. So price is gonna matter, right? If you're doing this as a youngster, you're 22, 23, 24, just got your master's degree, you're talking about doing an MBA, you're not going to have the chances and the opportunities that I am unless your parents are financially well off to borrow against a 401k. Well, not borrow. I didn't borrow against a 401k, but to dip into your 401k in order to do that. So finances is obviously going to be it. Let's take it from an older individual. Another obstacle that you're going to do as you're an older individual, I'm talking about 35 and up, is you might have kids at home. Kids who are needing to go to football practice, basketball practice, band practice, clarinet, gymnastics, or whatever they're dealing with. You got to they got to come first. Your children have to come first. I didn't go back to school until I was my daughter was 9. She was the youngest, 9 or 10, and my second one was 12, and then the oldest was 14. My stepson was 14. They're 2-year increments. I think they're 2 years increments. I can't remember anymore. So that was so that your family has to come first, and of course, if you're married, she has to come first, right? You could not, should not. I highly discourage people from taking those time. I mean, unless, and I talked about this in another video. So, you cannot, should not, must not divert time, energy, attention away from your family in order to pursue your own goals. You have to put them first. That is the goal. That is the sacrifice that you should be making for your family. I think it's a little bit different from a master's degree. Now, listen, I was in the same boat, so I'm trying not to be hypocritical here, right? But I had to think about my future, right? Here I am, now 50 years old. I've got my degrees, set myself up for later on in life. So if you can set yourself up early in life, in your 20s, early 30s, then you can coast, lack of a better term, later on. I went back to school. I was 38 when I started. When I went back to school, I was a police officer. I'd been there for a little bit of time. My kids are getting bigger, and I wanted to set myself up right. I didn't want to do the typical retire from a police job, get another police job, or open up a security business and all that kind of stuff. And if I did open up, or if I do open up a security business, I want to be the CEO wearing suits and ties and not out there actually doing what I got to do, doing the grunt work essentially. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I've done the grunt work. I kicked in the doors. I've stood out in the cold. I've stood out in the rain. I've guarded crime scenes. I've done that. I've chased people. I've done that. I don't want to do that anymore, right? So I try to set myself up for that. So you have to. So this is some of the things that you have to consider and think about when and if you are deciding to enter into this type of thing. Think about family, finances, family, finances, family. Another one you have to think about is your own mental health and mental and physical health. Not enough is talked about this when it comes to the rigors of going back to school. Now, most campuses now will have some type of counseling services. They will have some type of counseling services that will help individuals who are struggling with whatever they're struggling with. And I think that is good. That's fine. Not enough is talked about the mental health aspects and how many people actually need to go seek therapies, psychological, therapeutic type of help, mental help when they're going for their PhDs. I think that needs to be talked about a lot more, because it's extremely stressful. You put a lot of stress on yourself. Even the I think there are some studies about personality types. I'm not going to get into that because I haven't read them in a little bit, but personality types of people, extremely career driven, extremely focused and all that. And that wears on you when you're in this doctoral program, right? Particularly if you have a family, particularly if you have a full-time job, right? All these different types of things, right? All these different types of things wear on you. So this creates a big problem, So those are three main things that I want to focus on. My phone is getting hot here, so I'm gonna cut it off here soon. So you got to think about your family. You got to think about your finances. You got to think about your mental and physical health. And I'm so tired. Listen, I'm trying to really do the best I can to stay in the best shape of my life. And that means I'm eating right, whole food, plant-based diet. It means that I'm exercising at least 4 or 5 times a week. I have an exercise bike, walks, push-ups, sit-ups, things along those lines. So those types of things are important. So you have to take care of your mental health, your physical health, and your financial health, your marital, family health, and all that. You also, if you're older, you're going to probably be dealing with elderly parents. So you have to really consider all these types of things. And these are hurdles that you have to get over, right? You want to go to school online, or do you want to go to school on campus? Do you want to commute every time, commute in the snow and the rain, windy conditions, extra gas? All these you have to really kind of think about. That's why I want to go to school 100% online. I know that there's a stigma behind it. I'll debate that stigma with anyone. I'll go toe to toe with anyone who wants to talk about criminal justice, in anything else that I've learned. We can have a serious debate, and I am second to no one when it comes to those types of topics. Right, where I'm an expert. Period. Point blank. So I'm going to leave it off right there. You got a lot to think and to do. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Hit me back. Let me know what you think. If there's anything in particular you want me to talk about, I'll talk about it. Much love and peace.